GLC is now offering a free audio stream of our 24/7 broadcast that we're calling GLC Radio, an online radio station that broadcasts our round-the-clock audio stream on a variety of platforms. GLC Radio gives you the ability to listen to GLC virtually anywhere, through your home or office computer, or on the go with a mobile device. You can access GLC Radio through our website or by searching for God's Learning Channel through iTunes Internet Radio, TuneInRadio.com, or on Shoutcast.com. Explore various GLC Radio-enabled mobile apps by visiting our website at glc.us.com/listen/GLC Radio. GLC Radio, your free connection to GLC anywhere, anytime.
Well, hello. Welcome to Update. I'm kind of winging it alone today because I have a very special guest, and we'll meet him in just a minute. I have Gatana with me. But first, I want to tell you some good news. The year-end letters did go out, receipt letters, and I know a lot of you have been waiting for those, so I'm glad to tell you that they went out. And here is just a really short letter. It says, "Thanks so much for bringing the Lonnie and Deetra Pugh story to us. What awesome revelations." And that was from Denise from Columbia, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Denise. Glad you enjoyed that. That was an awesome program. My devotional today is from Emit Ministries, which means truth ministries. It says, "They might have looked like slaves, but they were anything but. When the Israelites left Egypt on that first Passover, they marched as a battalion of soldiers. The battle against Pharaoh had finally ended and the warriors were free. Now get this, they were soldiers, but they were not fighters. Not a single Israelite picked up a weapon against Egypt. Instead, their faith did the fighting. God had performed miracles and rescued his people. All they had to do was believe and sacrifice. It wasn't enough for Israel to just have trust in the Almighty. Each family also had to sacrifice. They didn't fight against Egypt, but they did use knives to offer the Passover lamb. Spiritual battles today are no different. Victory takes sacrifice and faith. Indeed, faith is only faith when it costs you something and forces you to sacrifice. What do you need to offer the Father today? Most likely, if you're in the midst of any struggle, you're also battling the Pharaoh of worry. Stress, doubt, fear, and worry attacks believers and makes us think we're weak. Too often, we lose sight of the battle being fought. You're not just struggling, sharing against bills or bosses. You're in the midst of a battle. The enemy wants to destroy you. That's what he does best. The Savior wants to save you. That's what he does best. Remember today that you're a soldier and you are at war. And just like the Israelites, you will win. The pharaohs that try to bring you down will be defeated. Raise your white flag and surrender to God. Exodus 13:8 says, "So God led them in a roundabout way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Thus the Israelites left Egypt like an army ready for battle." And now I want to introduce my good friend to you, Gatana. Gatana, so good to have you here with me today, Gatana, and thank you for coming.
Praise God. It's good to be here, and thank you for inviting me for this session. Really, I appreciate it.
I had a very special reason for inviting Gatana today. I told you last week that today I would share more with you about the Sharia law in Texas. And that's why I invited Gatana to be here. He's very familiar with Sharia law, being born and raised in Ethiopia.
Yes, ma'am. I was born and raised in Ethiopia, and most of our place where we lived is dominated Muslim region, and still we have now 42% Islam.
42% Islam.
When I was in high school, we have only 9%.
Really?
Yes, from 9% now they are going to 42%. Even they said we are more than that, but we don't know now. Just soon, the Ethiopian governments are trying to do the same. We will find out what's going on. And it doesn't surprise me why they grow. This is what it happened. They marry 2 or 3 wives, and they have children, 5, 10 from one, and that is the way they are growing, and they are now big in number.
I think that's a tactic they're using in Europe and a lot of places, isn't it?
Yeah, that is what they use in France. You know, in France now we have what they call where police is not or security is not going in. They have
no-go zone.
Yeah, no-going zone, and they have this Sharia law, and they put together and they said we are going to rule our county or our area on this Sharia law, and they are starting to do that long time ago before the bomb happening, and now in France their number is growing, and also they are in the government, and they are trying to take over. This is what Gaddafi said before he died. Europe, we don't need to fight in Europe. Our faithful children is making that jihad what we need, and they took Europe peacefully for us. Maybe we are going to fight America and Canada and Australia. That's what he said. The reason, you know, most Americans and Australian or Canadian, they are not marry Muslim people. If you go to Europe, Belgium or Sweden or France, name it, Great Britain. Great Britain is the largest country now where they have Muslim. It looks like another Mecca, Medina. And the Muslims, you know, I'm not saying terrorists.
Right.
I'm not giving them that name.
Right.
They are not terrorists. They are jihadists. They are doing according to the book of Quran. The book of Quran said, kill Christian and Jew. And these people, they are not compromising. They are doing what their book is asking them to do.
Right.
This is what we are not understanding.
Right.
Still, President Bush or President Barack Obama, they are not understanding what it means when they said terrorist or radical Islam. You know, these people, radical or terrorists, what they do, what it's written in the book of Quran.
Right.
And they are not compromising in their faith.
We need some radical Christians, don't we?
We need, no question for that. You know, I'm trying to just bring this message since 1994, and now a little bit people trying to catch it, what I'm saying.
Good.
You know, I have a friend who went home with the Lord, Nagi Care. We are trying this to bring it to Senate, to the White House, everywhere. And always they tell us we have hatred among Muslims, but we don't have hatred among Muslims, you know. If you are asking me our ministry where it's working, we are working in Somalia, we are working in Djibouti, we are working in Kenya, and we are working in Eritrea, we are working in South Sudan. The main thing what we are working with unsaved people. Who is unsaved people? Who is not yet hearing the gospel? Muslims. It surprises you, you know, just they hate us, they don't like us, but still we are helping their kids, we are opening a school, we are establishing clinic. Through that, people are coming to see Jesus.
You're showing them.
Yeah, we try to show them
Jesus.
the nature of Jesus. And here, if we say something about Muhammad, tomorrow morning we are going to be crucified, or tomorrow mornings are going to make a big blow up. But if they said about Jesus anything, nobody is not said anything. Even the church is not said anything. The church is silent.
Right.
And why the silence is taking place in America, I am not understanding.
Well, I want to read you an article that was on CBN, and this is alarming. And Christians, please listen up. This was done by Benjamin Gill, the news producer of CBN. A group of Muslims in northern Texas have created what may be the first official Sharia law system in the United States. The new Sharia tribunal in Irving, Texas, is trying to assure Americans that they're not planning to follow the type of Sharia law practiced in Muslim countries. But critics are not convinced. Dr. Frank Gaffney, who leads the Center for Security Policy in Washington, D.C., has studied what happens when Sharia law enters into state court decisions. I think what we will see is a coercion of Muslims to participate in this program, he said. If Sharia law continues to encroach into our legal system, how might it affect the constitutional rights of Americans, particularly women? Dr. Gaffney explains more. He said he thinks that some in the Muslim community think they're following Sharia law to some extent, but they're not following the authoritative version of it, which is brutally repressive, very hostile to women, hostile to homosexuals, hostile to Jews, hostile to Christians, kind of a totalitarian system, he said. CSP has found that at least 146 cases have been identified where the U.S. court system has allowed a Sharia court to adjudicate. In about 20% of those cases, the court agreed to use Sharia law instead of American law with our constitutional guarantees respected, Gaffney said. In some Muslim countries, severe punishment is common. Women have very few rights, and blasphemy against Muhammad can result in a death sentence. But tribunal judge Imam Mojahed Baka is denying that will happen in America. The misconception about what they see through the media is that Sharia means cut the head, chop the hands, cut the hands, and we are not in that, he said. We are not here to invade the White House or invade Austin. But Robert Spencer of Jihad Watch writes, there is no school of Islamic jurisprudence among either Sunnis or Shiites that does not mandate stoning for adultery, amputation for the hand for theft, and subjugation of women. Imam Bakhak has three other Muslim judges are planning to bypass the traditional legal system of Texas to handle civil cases on their own. They plan to start by administering their own rulings for cases like divorce and business disputes. But critics caution that allowing Sharia tribunals to operate in the U.S. essentially allows Islamic law to replace U.S. law and will undermine the established U.S. rights of some of the victims. The Center for Security Policy issued a report in 2011 documenting how Sharia law is already being applied in official state courts across America. The facts are the facts. Some judges are making decisions deferring to Sharia law, even when those decisions conflict with constitutional protections, the group states. The report discovered 50 such cases involving Muslim American families, mostly Muslim women and children, who were asking American courts to preserve their rights to equal protection and due process. These families came to America for freedom from the discriminatory and cruel laws of Sharia. When our courts then apply Sharia law in the lives of these families and deny them equal protection, they're betraying the principle on which America was founded, the Center for Security Policy states. Spencer agrees, pointing out pointing out that is the track record of Sharia around the world. Sharia policies throughout history and today have denied the freedom of speech and the freedom of conscience. They have mandated discrimination against women and non-Muslims, Spencer says. So, that's a brief thing of what we're looking at.
Yeah, he is right, just he puts the right thing. But most of the problem is, what do you know about Islam?
We don't know much,
Yeah,
do we?
and if you are not reading the book, you don't know what it means. According to the Quran, women rights, Islam teaches that men are superior to women. In Surah 228, it said clearly, the 3 witness of women is like 1 man. They have this. I don't know how they are going to fit with really the founding fathers' law in this nation.
No.
How they are going to fit with that?
Right.
This kind of discrimination. And also we came to America, looking for freedom. If you are
Right.
asking me, I came for religion freedom. I have been imprisoned. I have been persecuted. They pour boiling oil over my feet. They killed my dad. They burned alive people. They burned the church. And still, they do this when they got a chance in Ethiopia, in Somalia. If Mujahid, for example, his name means warrior, fighter for Mujahideen.
Right.
And that's his name. And this man, who knows the Quran very well, came and tried to lie to American people. And
Yes.
why we are lying, it is true. The book of Quran said, kill somebody who converted from Islam to Christianity and ask him to convert back to Islam. If he denies, kill him by just chop his head off. This happened to our believers in Somalia. This happens to our believers in Kenya. Kenya is a free country, a Christian country, but they allow the Sharia law to work, and they adapted that law with their law. They accepted, and now the Sharia law is working, and here the Muslims are saying, you accept our law. In our law, the Imam a week ago came in Kenya, face to face, he said, we need to kill every Christian.
I know, they say that all the time, and we just act like it's a cartoon, that
Yeah.
we don't pay attention.
We don't pay attention, and also now here in our own state, with a Christian-built state, and also what we said, don't mess with Texas.
Yeah,
Sure, indeed. Here is what's going on now. Where are our politicians? Where is the church?
where is the
When
church?
these people
That's
are
right.
talking, just when they allow this law, what we are thinking about our grandchildren, what we are thinking about our children. We confused them already, They are confused. Most kids, after they go to college, they are not in the church.
Right, right.
The reason we are not trained them from the beginning, from the starting point.
That's right.
The church don't have that much things for the young people or the teenagers. And for this reason, we have teenagers' pregnancy, we have so many things. And again, now we allow this thing to take place in our own state.
What puzzles me is why it was already there before we even heard about it. Where are our politicians? I asked Ryan to put up our governor's phone number and any other information he could come up with to help you to not be silent. Please, do you care if your neighbors start coming around and demanding that you become, that you dress as a Muslim?
Yeah, in Dearborn, Michigan, for
Yes.
example, now, in Dearborn, Michigan, they have a green zone. That green zone is you are not going without covering your head. As an American woman, You know, we are celebrating this freedom. I love this freedom.
Amen.
You know, this freedom is the one who gave me the religion freedom to express my religion.
Yes.
I didn't get this freedom back home. And I want really to realize and to think what we are going to inherit to our children. In Dearborn, Michigan,
Right.
today, you can't go there and buy alcohol. It's a dry zone. They make it a dry zone, and we can't walk without covering your head. And Sharia law is working there, they said.
Oh, yes.
And even, you know, in France, in some areas, the police are not going, the security are not going in their own country.
I understand
They
that.
put restriction on that. And this is what we are allowing to happen, and how we are silent. Why? Why we are silent? You know, I don't say not they have a freedom. They need to have a freedom. But
it needs to be under U.S.
American law,
constitutional
Constitution
law.
of the country.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, I have that freedom. I need to obey the constitution of this country. You know, the Australian Prime Minister, what he said?
No.
These people, they're starting the same thing what they do now here. They want to put Sharia laws. They want to do everything. Then he came face to face with them. He said, we gave you asylum. You got citizenship. You are an Australian. But Australia is established before you came in and get citizen. We have a law. We are not changing that law. We are Christian.
Praise the Lord.
We are Christian. We are living according the Bible, according the law of this country. If you don't want to submit to that, experience
home.
your faith. We don't care. And who came and converted to Islam, we don't care. You can do that, but don't touch the freedom of the country.
Right.
If you are going to touch that, go back to
Wherever you came from.
you came from. And you know, we need really to limit this. We need
We
to make a
do.
decision. This country is founded by our forefathers for me and for you, for others to live with this kind of freedom. You know, they have this freedom for us to come and to celebrate and to live in. If we try to change it, things are not working.
That's
well.
right.
You know, this
That's
is
right.
why I am trying really to tell to people, what do you know about Islam? Do you know there is inheritance? For example, one of our pastors got killed by Al-Shabaab, and then he got a house, he got a wife. His wife is Nigerian Christian, and they live in close to Nairobi. After his burial, they came to her. They said, would you like to marry me? His brother came and asking her. She said, no, I'm a Christian. He knows that. He is a Christian, and we live in this Christian life. I'm not marry his brother. Then the house, even the material from inside the house, she is not taking one table or one chair. They took it over.
Wow.
You know, this is the Sharia law.
So they consider her dead too, as
Yeah.
far as that's concerned.
Yeah, that's what they said. If she's a Christian, she's dead. And now we took her children, we took her, and we put her somewhere in Nairobi where they can't
To
find
protect her.
To protect her, and the kids are in the boarding school. And this is what Sharia law is doing. You know, and the main thing, you know, the main thing, they don't know the meaning of Islam. Islam means surrender to Allah and to His Prophet Muhammad.
Right.
You are a slave. You are an slave yourself to Allah and to Muhammad, not a loving God. If it's a loving God,
God.
He is not asking to kill people.
That's right.
You know, our loving God, He gave His only begotten Son to save the world. But this God, what He is doing is, if you are not converted to Islam, if you are, and also it's permitted to just evangelize Islam by sword. And throughout the history, what they do, they are killing people and they became a Christian. They will make them Islam. They are complaining about crusade. You know, our president last
Yes, at the prayer
breakfast,
breakfast.
he tried to do, and this and that is not the same.
It's
It
not.
doesn't go together, you know. I'm not going to slave time and complain about what other people are doing. This society is different now.
It is.
This
Very.
society is different, and I need to just forget that one, and I need to live with this society now.
And look to the future.
Yeah, look to the future. And also, really, Islam and Christian are equal. Yes, equal. In this country, we have a freedom of religion. Praise God. But when I am passing the limit and burning the Bible and closing the church, that's not working.
That's not working.
Yeah,
It's
that's not working.
We,
And,
we so quickly forget the atrocities that are happening in America.
Yeah, remember September 11.
That's right.
You know, and remember what they did here in Fort Hood. You know,
Yes.
these people, they are, the Fort Hood guy, when he is shooting our military people, he said, Allahu Akbar. I'm doing this about my faith, he said. Still, they said he's not terrorist, he's not jihadist.
Yeah.
It's a domestic violence. They try to cover up it.
Yeah.
And see what it happened in Virginia. You know, two
That's
of
right.
the people who came and did that September 11, they belong to one mosque in Virginia, just in Falls Church. They are residents there, and they are trained by our own money. They are trained here in our own
That's
land,
right.
and then they starting to do what their faith is asking them to do. You know, we have radical, really very, very radical teachers in Islam who is trying to promote this to these people. They tell them they are going to get 72 virgin, they are going to get alcohol, they are going to eat meat, delicious food in heaven. They are just putting this in their mind, and these people are blinded by that message, and they are trying to do this.
Gatana, one more thing I wanted you to show us was a map that you brought, and tell us about that map.
This is where they have a training center. It's run by Islam organization, and they said it's a youth camp or it's a
Youth camp.
youth camp or training camp, and some of these camp belong to a Christian organization, and they rent it, and they are not. They are asking also the workers not to come. The reason they are having this halal food, and their workers are not the workers of the
Camp.
the camp is not working there, and then they are what they found out. This you know, private investigator, what they found out, this is a training center. Everybody knows that they are training
Oh,
their
wow.
people, and they are doing their own stuff to train their people and to collect money to send it back where ISIS and Al Qaeda or Al Shabaab is doing things. That's what they do. And
So,
you know, we need to know about our
That's
state,
right.
about our neighbors, and when we see something new, really we need to alert also the security, or we need to alert our enforcement. We don't need to keep quiet.
Right.
You know, when we see new people in town or some people is going here and there, just let we aware of it.
be aware.
know.
And be aware
Yeah.
that you cannot be silent at this time. This is a critical time in our nation's history. It's a critical time for the church. And I ask you to be praying for the church,
Yeah.
that they not compromise. God explicitly tells us not to compromise with evil. And what's more evil than the slaughter of innocent people?
And we need also to wake up, and we need to teach our children
That's
what
right.
is our faith, where it's based, and our country history. Our children needs to know.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you very much.
And thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.